The Cat Dennings Effect. We have a glossary on our website with all of the wacky terms, but useful terms that we have thought up over the years in discussing books. The Cat Dennings Effect is as follows. Named after the gorgeous and talented actress, Cat Dennings. This is the experience had by a reader where she recommends a book she has not read. Brackets, either directly or indirectly, perhaps through a hunch based on secondhand accounts or through an enthusiastic hauling of a book. And then someone reads that book, for example, Cat Dennings, followed by the reader finally reading the book herself and realizing she would not have actually recommended the book had she actually read it. This leads to feelings of regret that you blew your chance to recommend a true favorite to someone really cool.
Damn.
I think we've all been there.
Yeah. Huh? Hasn't that happened to everyone?
And so what we're going to do right now is we're going to recommend books to Cat Dennings. Books that we actually really like, books that we have read, books with massive stamps of approval from us, books we can stand proud behind. Damn it. And maybe I'll start us off, Raylene.
Okay.
So I'm so excited about all the books I've pulled here. I've got a bunch of different reasons why, but I think I'll just start with the most direct one, which is instead of the Kamigawa Food Detectives. Like, if I was recommending a Japanese translated book that has some cozy vibes or is like in some way interesting or kind of special, because this one has a little bit of a sci-fi element, like what would I have recommended instead? And I know that we were only going to try and do one for each of these categories. I couldn't help it. I have three. Okay, I have three right here.
Ooh.
The first one is Convenience Store Woman, because when people are starting to read Japanese fiction, this is the one I want them to read. This is so fascinating and strange. And because Cat Dennings, the other reason was because Cat Dennings like told us that her favorite book is The True Deceiver. It's kind of dark and it follows like a very, very solitary main character. I was like, I think you would like Convenience Store Woman. And it's funny because these books are very different in like, this one is so dark and moody. It's like all set at night and so much snow coverage. Yeah. And this one is like under the bright fluorescence of a convenience store in a hyper civilized like place, right? But I just think that there's themes here that anyone would really like. Then Diary of a Void, because this one has that kind of, there's like a magical realism thing that you don't know what's going to happen at the end. And it's growing and building in this way because basically a woman at the beginning of the book lies and says she's pregnant when she's not. But you're like, okay, well, she only has 9 months to figure out what she's going to do about this. But the lie is growing and growing and growing. And you're like, is this going to be a magical realism thing where suddenly she just is pregnant, like immaculate conception? Yeah. Or is this going to be a situation where she's going to have to like lie and steal a baby? Every time she looks at a baby in this, I'm like, she's going to steal that baby. It's so good. And then the other one that's more on the cozy side that I liked way more than the Kamigawa Food Detectives was Days at the Murasaki Bookshop by Satoshi Yagisawa. I forgot to say the translators. This one's translated by Eric Ozawa. This one's which one is Diary of a Void is translated by one of the ones we know? Yeah, David Boyd and Lucy North. That's interesting. And Convenience Store Woman, is this one Ginny? Yes, Ginny Tapley Takamori. Yeah. And the Kamigawa Food Detectives is Jesse Kirkwood. I haven't heard of that translated before. Anyways, those are the Japanese books I would recommend to Cat Dennings, not the Kamigawa Food Detectives. I know Cat has really beautiful cats that eat her books. And I'm like, I couldn't think of, I was like, I'm not going to recommend a subpar cat book. I didn't have a good actual cat one, but that's that, Raylene. You go next.
Okay. So we might have different kind of categories of recommendations because I've been thinking about things in a specific way.
Of course.
But
Yeah.
I did want to recommend a cat book. I obviously have
good.
a ton of cat
I was
books.
hoping you would.
Yeah, and like there's a ton that I could recommend. There are some that I have talked about on the podcast a lot, like the Traveling Cat Chronicles, If Cats Disappeared from the World. So I wanted to try and give a slightly different recommendation, one that I haven't hyped up as much, and that is Catboy by Benji Nate, which is actually a graphic novel. I don't know if Kat likes graphic novels, but I think if you want to try one, this is a great place to start. This is basically about a young girl who has a cat, and one day she wakes up and her cat is like anthropomorphic, like becomes the same size as her and is like a friend that can talk to her. And so awesome. It's a little bit strange. It's definitely strange. I guess it has a kind of magical realism thing going that you were talking about. But it's just like really lovely, and like her cat is just so cute, and the way they interact is just so lovely. And I feel like anybody who's a cat lover should definitely read this, because like the art is really beautiful. Her cat gets really into fashion. Like he really is like, can you like, yeah, he's like wearing her dresses and stuff. Like it's just very wholesome and cute. And I absolutely love that. So I wanted to recommend that.
That's awesome.
But I also have a Japanese recommendation that I wanted to give as well.
Oh, yeah.
And that is Lonely Castle in the Mirror by Mizuki Tsujimura. This one I kind of wanted to recommend to Kat for a couple of reasons. One, because I wanted to recommend her a Japanese book that I really enjoyed. This one also has a magical realism element, so making all these connections here that I hadn't originally planned. But I also wanted to recommend something with a young main character to kind of backpack off of the sweetness at the bottom of the pie thing. So
amazing.
Yes, so this book is about a young girl who is no longer going to school because she's being bullied, and so she stops going to school completely. And one day her mirror in her bedroom starts glowing, and she's like, whoa, what's going on? And she finds out she can go through it, and she ends up going through it to this magical castle where there's a few other kids who are in similar situations to her. They all show up here, and this is like the one place where they have friends, where like they feel accepted, they feel good. And there's like a weird quest that's going on in there. There's like this little girl who's like, all right, if you guys can all find these keys, something will happen. And so it's like an adventure story. It's kind of fairy tale-esque. It's also kind of sad, but it's also beautiful. It's like all the things. So I feel like this is one that Kat might enjoy.
That's awesome. Okay, well, since you recommended a graphic novel, I have one here as well.
Okay.
And this is a very specific, for a very specific reason.
Okay.
I believe the first movie I ever saw Cat Dennings in was Raise Your Voice, starring the incredibly talented Hilary Duff.
Wow. Yeah.
Did you see Raise Your Voice?
It's been forever. So like I don't even remember anything about it.
Yeah, that is a deep cut. That was not like that teen movie, even though like Hilary Duff and Cat Dennings and other people were in it, didn't blow up as much as other ones.
Yeah.
I then also found out, like, because I rewatched it a couple years ago, it has an interesting and slightly bizarre Christian lean on it. Like something Christian's going on, like a church funded that movie or something. That's just an interesting aside. I think that's the first movie I ever saw her though in. And do you remember she plays the piano in that movie?
No, I really don't remember anything about this movie.
She plays this amazing like emo character who I remember very distinctly wears this amazing black dress that like is like burned into my brain as like one of the coolest characters ever. Anyway, she plays the piano in that movie. And I don't know if Kat Dennings plays the piano in real life, but she plays the piano in that movie. And I was like, first movie I ever saw her in, piano. I'm recommending Ballad for Sophie.
Yeah, baby.
Okay. Philip Mello and Juan Cavia. I've obviously talked about this book. Well, maybe too much. Maybe you're all burnt out from hearing about this one. But I actually feel like I haven't talked about it in a while. So I was like, I'm bringing it back. This is probably my favorite graphic novel of all time. And I read a lot of graphic novels. So that's like saying something. I think the artwork in this book is so stunning that it's like, it's actually changed my bar for graphic novels. Like when I look at graphic novels, I'm like, yeah, but they did that. Like
this is possible. Come on.
You could have done that.
Yeah.
Like it's so unbelievably beautiful, and it feels like every single page is a masterpiece. But the story is also really interesting and fun and very like nostalgic and melancholic. And it's basically about this woman who goes to interview this famous pianist, and he's going over this big fight that happened between him and another pianist, and they're like going over it. But it's so, so beautiful. Oh God, the art is so stunning. I really need to reread it. But the color palette, the story, the themes, it's beautiful. I really, really liked this one. And I know when you read it, you didn't love it as much as I did, but you still really liked it.
It was a solid 4 stars for me, for sure.
Yeah, so it has both of our stamps of approval on it, which is really fun.
Absolutely.
Okay, what do you have next?
Okay, next, I would be remiss if I didn't recommend this book. I already recommended it to Kat directly, but I'm going to recommend it again here. And that is Valley of the Dolls by Jacqueline Suzanne. Because, yeah, like I said, when she recommended The Best of Everything, we kind of had a conversation where I was like, well, have you read Valley of the Dolls? And she's like, no. She's like, I've heard that it's great. She's also said, like, a lot of people say that The Best of Everything is better. So I'm kind of like, I want to like challenge Kat to read this and be like, let me know which one is better. Because this is kind of a similar situation. It's about, it focuses on 3 women in the 60s who are all kind of trying to break into the entertainment game. And then it's, as the book goes on, things get kind of dark at times, like as they get deeper and deeper into it. There's drugs are involved. It's a whole thing. So it's definitely not like a light, fun read throughout the whole thing, but it's very, very good. I really enjoyed this, and I read it last summer. Highly recommend reading it in the summer. So now is everyone's time. Go read that.
All right, next up, like you had done picking a book with a young main character, I also did that to kind of match the sweetness at the bottom of the pie. And I already mentioned this book, but I will talk about this book anytime. It is True Grit by Charles Portis. I read this on such a random whim, and I think that was awesome because I really didn't go into it with any expectations whatsoever. I basically found it on my audiobook on the library app when I was like, what audiobooks are available now? Like, which books do I not have to wait for? Yeah. And this one was available now, read by Donna Tartt.
Yeah, that's true. I always forget about that.
I was like, what are we talking about? Okay, I'm going to give that a shot, obviously. And I start listening to it, and I am like instantly so into it. I think Donna Tartt is from the South, but she puts on an even heavier Southern American accent. And it's so exciting, like this cowboy Donna Tartt reading this book. And I really recommend the audiobook for sure. But I also just really love this book. Like, it was so exciting. I love a revenge plot. Like, a revenge plot to me is so satisfying. And I'm not saying that in real life I think there should be like revenge plots or whatever, but I'm just saying in movies and in books, I really enjoy them. Yeah. I like The Count of Monte Cristo. That to me is like the most satisfying. You know, when you see someone at the very beginning of a movie or a story be wronged and you're like, they are going to spend this novel getting back at you. Like, that's so fun. How are they going to do it? How are they going to orchestrate it? What's going to get in their way? Who's going to help them? Like, those kinds of questions are so much fun. So this is about Maddie Ross, who, I'm trying to remember how old she is.
14.
14, it says. And her father is shot down dead by this guy. And so she wants to go and capture this man and bring him to justice. But obviously, she's a 14-year-old girl, so she needs help. And she teams up with some other cowboys, and they head out to catch this guy. And it's just like a beautiful, epic tragedy. It's awesome. Oh, God, I want to reread it. It's so, so cool. And this really, like, kicked me off on a whole Westerns thing for a while, which was really fun.
That is true. Well. That is true. Well, that was a great next thing for you to recommend, because I have another book about a young main character that is one of my all-time favorite books that I don't talk about nearly enough on the podcast. Ooh, I know what it's going to be. You know what it's going to be. It's a different kind of vibe for a young main character, but it's Room by Emma Donoghue. This is about a 5-year-old boy who was born in a shed, basically. His mom was kidnapped when she was a teenager, and she was forced to have this child, and so he has never known anything. This is his whole world, is his mom and this room. And it's very haunting, very scary, very sad, but the story ultimately does have a happy ending, so it's like you don't need to be scared the whole time. But I absolutely love this book. Every time I read it, it just draws me in. And like the writing style is kind of strange because you're reading from the perspective of a 5-year-old who has no education.
Right.
And so the way he talks is very weird. And it's just fascinating, though. It's such a fascinating book. And you will fall in love with that little boy. And it's sort of like a thriller in some ways. Like it's like kind of a mystery thriller. So it kind of fits that sweetness at the bottom of the pie vibe again.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love this book so much. Like, I would say top 5 favorites. So I just wanted to shout about it for a little bit because I love it so much and I want more people to read it. Also, Canadian author.
Yes, I was going to say Canadian author. When was the last time that you reread that book?
Like a couple of years ago. It hasn't been a super long time, but I am itching to reread it. And thinking about, like, when I was putting the stack together, I was like, yeah, Room is going to have to be reread soon.
Yeah. I have a very distinct memory of that book, of borrowing the this is how
I already know what you're going to say because I have this memory of you too.
But this is like an example of how quickly the audiobook landscape has changed. It is now so easy to get your hands on any audiobook.
Yes.
Like, you can just find it on the library app for free or use LibroFM or any of these other great resources to find audiobooks. I borrowed Room from my library and it was like its own MP3 player.
Yep.
It was an MP3 player that its sole purpose was to play Room by Emma Donoghue.
I know.
And
awesome.
it came in like a thick, like kind of like a DVD case. You know, and so you'd like open this like cartridge thing and then take out the MP3 player that had a lanyard. And then, did you ever listen to any of these?
I did. I remember taking them to the gym with me at one point when I was like 20.
That's
I was like,
so
all right, I've got my little audiobook plug in my headphones. It's crazy.
My custom MP3 player. What happened to all those MP3 players? Where are they now?
Where are they at? I'm sure the library still has some of them.
That's so fascinating. So, and then, yeah, you'd like plug in your own headphones and then you could like play, pause, rewind, whatever. But like, that's such a funny image. Anyway, I distinctly remember walking my dog, Eddie. This was when he was very young and we didn't have Doug yet.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this was pre-Doug time. But it was just me and Eddie on a walk, rural Ontario. I'm listening to my library MP3 player version of Room. And I break down crying. I'm just crying on the side of the road because this book is so emotional. Yeah, so that was like a very distinct memory.
I think about that. Every time I think about that book, I imagine you crying on the side of the road with your little MP3 player. I truly do. Because you told me about it when it happened. I was like, oh,
I know, it's so distinct
visceral.
to me.
Yeah.
All right, what do you have next?
Okay, my final one is another murder mystery because the sweetness at the bottom of the pie inspired me, and it's also by a Japanese author, and it's become a new favorite of mine, and that is the Decagon House Murders by Yukito Ayetsuji. So I read this, a few months ago. It was just earlier this year, and it kind of sent me on a spiral of wanting to read every single Japanese murder mystery that has ever existed because I just had so much fun with this. This one is inspired by And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. So it has a very similar vibe, very similar situation. You've got a group of a bunch of people who go to an island, but they go there specifically because there was a murder that happened at this weird house. So there's like this house that's shaped like a decagon. So it's got 10 sides. It's very strange. And something terrible happened there. So these people go because they want to try and solve the mystery of what happened because nobody ever solved it, basically. And they're all in this club at school called the Mystery Club. So they're all very smart and they've read a lot of like mystery books and seen a lot of movies. And so it's all of them just feel very, very clever. And so it's like, whoa, what is going to happen? But then they start getting picked off one by one, just like in And Then There Were None. So it's like, it's this crazy locked room mystery. And it's so fascinating and fun.
Cool.
But in a way, it's kind of cozy-ish too, because it feels like an Agatha Christie book. It's like not super dark. So I feel like it's a good kind of entry point for murder mystery readers as well.
Oh, that's perfect. Well, my final recommendation is just like an honorable mention.
Okay.
Because we don't know if Cat Dennings likes graphic novels, and this one is actually just a children's book. But this to me has the closest possible vibes of any book to The True Deceiver. Like, they exist in the same universe to me. It is The Skull by John Klassen. It's got this beautiful, gothic, spooky vibe going on that I can't say too much about because it's a very, very short book, so I would spoil the entire thing. But basically, a little girl, so that was another connection that to all the other books we're talking about. A little girl finds a skull in the forest, and they go on like a little adventure, and it's spooky and gothic and kind of scary and very snowy and dark. And I just think the vibes are so immaculate, and also Canadian author.
That's fantastic. I thought you were going to say Moomins.
I know. I was like, I really wanted to do the Moomins, but I was like, Cat Dennings knows about the Moomins.
We all know about
she
the
knows.
Moomins. We know about
she
the
knows
Moomins.
about the Moomins. Cat, hopefully, if you heard this episode, you'll check out one of these books. But there's no pressure. This was just a fun way for us to go over and like check out some fun books. And really, it was for me. Okay, I needed to right that wrong. Now I feel that my soul is cleansed and I can move on psychologically from that trauma.
I'm really glad. Also, we haven't recommended books in a while, so that felt kind of like looking back on, the early episodes back when we used to do that.
Where we came from.
Yeah.